Lately, I've been thinking a lot about teenage boys. Not because my sons are already teenagers, but because they're getting close. And recently, a woman shared with me her struggles with her 13-year-old son. You could hear the exhaustion in her voice, the confusion too. One moment he's calm, the next he's angry. One moment he listens, the next he completely shuts her out. And as she spoke, something stayed in my mind. Because as fathers, many times we think parenting problems start during these teenage years. But I'm beginning to believe that many teenage battles are usually won or lost much earlier. You know, when children are young, especially boys, they naturally admire you. They want to follow you everywhere. They want to help you do even the smallest of things, even sweeping like this. To them, it looks important. And I think sometimes as fathers, we underestimate those moments. Because while we are busy providing, working, chasing opportunities, our boys are quietly studying us. How we speak, how we respond to pressure, how we treat their mother, how we carry responsibility, how we behave when nobody is watching us. And I think one thing that scares many parents is that teenage years feel like a sudden change. But maybe it's not sudden. Maybe it's slow transition we fail to prepare for. Because a boy doesn't wake up one day and become distant. Sometimes he slowly stops talking because nobody created room for conversations earlier. Sometimes he slowly resists authority because responsibility was never introduced properly. Sometimes he becomes angry because he himself doesn't understand the changes happening inside him. And honestly, I think modern society is also very confusing for boys. Very, very confusing. A boy today is exposed to thousands of voices before he even understands himself. Social media, celebrities, friends, strangers online. Everybody is telling him what a man should be, but very few are actually guiding him patiently. One thing I've personally been thinking about is how to become a bridge for my boys, before they become difficult to reach. Not just a provider, not just somebody they fear, but someone they can trust enough to talk to. And I don't mean becoming soft, because boys still need discipline. They still need boundaries, they still need correction. But I also think boys need connection, especially before the teenage years. Because once they become teenagers, they begin pulling away naturally. That's part of growing. And if there was no strong foundation before, that gap becomes even wider. I also think many mothers silently struggle raising teenage boys alone, especially when fathers are far away most of the time. Even good fathers. Because sometimes a father can be physically absent for understandable reasons: work, survival, providing, but the emotional gap still affects the home. And I think that's something men need to talk about more honestly. Because boys need masculine presence, not violence, not shouting, presence, direction, steadiness, correction. For example, I'm still learning this myself every day. Sometimes I look at my sons playing and I realize these peaceful moments won't last forever. Soon they will have deeper questions, bigger emotions, confusion, pressure, temptations. And I don't want our relationship to begin there. I want it to begin now, in ordinary moments like this. Working together, sweeping together, walking together, laughing together. Because maybe that's how trust is built. Not through lectures, but through presence, or rather presence. And honestly, I don't think society talks enough about boys. Not real conversations. Not beyond boys are stubborn or boys are hard to raise. Because behind many difficult teenage boys is actually a deeper story. A search for identity, a need for guidance, a need to belong somewhere, a need to be seen. And maybe that's why I've been thinking about this so much lately. Because I don't just want to raise successful boys. I want to raise grounded men who can lead homes peacefully, men who can control themselves, men who can protect without becoming harsh, men who know responsibility, men who understand family. And I know that preparation starts now, not when they turn 16, not after damage is already done. Now. I don't have all the answers. I'm learning too. Because maybe that's why these conversations matter. Especially for fathers. Especially for families. Especially for boys growing up in a world that is becoming louder every day.
Do that guy pays when he's using your generator?
Yeah.
Anyway, let me finish this compound.
End the video. See, you can see a green.